Thank you. I want to welcome everyone to the Neighborhood Traffic Subcommittee meeting. To my left is Councilor Kevin Broderick, and Councilor Rita Mercy will not be attending the meeting tonight, other council meeting. I want to bring to the attention that we will address this issue that Diane Coburn has brought forward. And Mr. Clerk, if you can call the roll, please.
Councilor Caulfield.
Here.
Councilor Broderick.
Here.
Councilor Rita Mercia. 2 present, 1 absent.
Thank you. I also want to welcome Alan Kazanjian, Council-elect, Council James Milanazzo, Assistant City Manager Andy Sheehan, our Traffic Engineer Jeff Gomes, our Assistant DPD Director Ann Barton, and thank you. Okay, if you could give us an overview of your problem, and we'll try to address it and be fair. All right? Speak right into that microphone.
Push the button. Okay. My name is Diane Corbin. I'm the Program Director of South Bay Early Intervention. We're located at 148 Warren Street in Lowell. We serve children birth to 3 and their families. I wanted to stress that we work with the most disadvantaged children and families in Greater Lowell. When I say disadvantaged, I don't just mean people who have experienced trauma and poverty and domestic violence and DSS involvement, but we also work with families who have children who are physically disabled as well. Really, the point of early intervention is to empower families and empower parents so that they can be the best parents that they can be for their kids. So we provide services in the home, but also out of our office at 148 Warren Street. We're overseen by the Department of Public Health, and we're certified through the Department of Early Education and Care. I didn't know if you wanted me to go through the whole scenario again, or just basically tell you what the crux of the issue is.
Okay, I just have a few questions. I know Councilor Kevin Broderick has some questions as well. How many are employed by South Bay, your firm? How many is employed there?
Well, South Bay Early Intervention in Lowell is just one site. We have, our overall agency is all over Massachusetts, but in this specific building, there are 32 staff.
All right, let me rephrase the question. Okay. How many of the employees that are at the Lowell site park in front of the site?
32 staff.
32?
In and out. Well, see, the thing is, we have certain people that are there from 9 to 5. We have staff that come in the after-school program.
How many people are there from 9 to 5?
From 9 to 5, we have 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, like 10 or 11.
And how many parking spaces are you looking for?
I'm looking for 3 parking spaces.
3. Well, just to be fair with you, Diane, why can't you have the staff that's there from 9 to 5 park in the parking garage? And that would open up numerous parking spots.
I don't know if we can do that.
What's that?
I'd have to find out if we can do that.
Well, parking is a premium in our city, and that's why we built. There's 4 parking garages presently, and there's a new one on Middlesex Street. That's why we built them. And if you go into any large city in Boston, Cambridge, Somerville, you will probably have to go to either their parking lot or the parking garage. And we want to help you and reach out to you, but I think you have to meet us halfway here.
Well, the issue, I think, becomes that this hasn't been a problem for 10 years, and all of a sudden it became a problem when the sidewalks were being redone. We've been having people park in front of the building with no incident for 10 years. And so what I'm asking for is just basically what we've already had, and those parking spaces would be specifically devoted for parents that are dropping their kids off. If I had adequate parking for parents and staff, I wouldn't be here. I mean, we have meetings where we come in and there's not enough parking for staff, there's not enough parking for parents. I don't think it's unreasonable to ask for something that we've already had that's been taken away from us, and that's really what the issue is. This is not parking for staff that I'm asking for. It's parking right in front of the building, is like even a drop-off for parents, where they can just stop the car, bring their child into group, or pick them up and then leave.
Councilor
So,
Broderick?
Thank you. Excuse me. I understand what you're saying, and the difficulty is, from our side, as a legislative body, and I'll ask one of the city employees here, Ann Patton, I guess. This is not something the city's ever done, correct? Is designate public parking for private use?
No, we're not able to do that through ordinance for a private individual.
Okay, so that's the number one problem we have. And I know we've told other people in the past, recently, that we couldn't do it for other new developments. If you look at even the high school, the teachers, city employees have to park in the parking garage and walk across the street to go to their work. School department people, we have to leave those open for the public downtown where the school department is. I understand you've had it for 10 years, and essentially, count yourself lucky, I think. It doesn't make it right or legal or something we can legally do and let you continue to use it. I understand, with handicapped children and children in general, because I have little ones, it's very dangerous and it's very nerve-wracking in and out of cars, into buildings, But I think that, how many spots do you have for parking on your lot?
if we pack everybody in, we have 17 spaces. Meaning doubled up, tripled up parking. So it's not parking where you can just pull in and park and then leave. It's parking, everybody has to move kind of a thing, which is, we've been dealing with that since we, we moved into the building, so.
Yeah, I think that you're faced with a difficult issue here, in that you're going to have to, my suggestion is that you find some means of arranging for a pickup and drop-off within your 17 spaces. At what time, I'm not going to tell you business. If the children come early, then I would suggest you tell employees that want to come or that have to be there early, to park somewhere else. And then maybe if there's spots, because, I have to use the courthouse, and I have to come down and park on the street or go in the parking garage. I don't really look at it much different, other than the fact that you've been able to do it because no one stopped you. But with the work that we're doing and the funds we use, we have to make sure things are done properly and within the city ordinances and bylaws, and we can't just say, geez, just keep doing it, we'll just pretend it doesn't happen. It's a very tight area. I just drove by it, and I understand what you feel like you're losing here, but it's just simply not allowed from the city side, by ordinance. I think that you could certainly talk to maybe Mr. Sheehan and the manager at some point, whomever, or Chuck Carney, and arrange for some type of parking. A monthly fee would probably be reduced from what it would be day-to-day or hourly, but it depends on your employees. I know that oftentimes, depending on the time of day, there's parking meters right down in front of the Warren Street building that your people can use, that literally is 75 feet away. Those people.
The
Bagshaw Mills.
The metered parking
Yeah.
you're talking about?
Yeah. It's a difficult situation, but it's just my personal opinion. Others can chime in. I don't think we can do it. I don't think it's allowed by law.
The other thing I wanted to mention too is that when it snows or when it's sleet or, any inclement weather, we can't use the parking next to the building, so that's 5 less spaces. So we really only have parking for 10 cars because once you get down into that driveway, you can't get up again. So I want to mention that. And also, it's not my coming to work, it's not a 9-to-5 job. The clinicians are in and out all day. So to try to, some clinicians just pull up, get out, drop off their billing and leave. So it's not like we need 34 parking spaces. Do you see what I'm saying? It's not a traditional job. We're in and out of people's homes, we're in the community, we're back and forth.
I understand what you're
So
saying.
designating parking is not, it's really difficult to do that.
I
that's-
agree. I think it's going to be very difficult. I think that you have 10 or 11 9 to 5 people should absolutely not be parking on your lot, in my opinion. I would, if I was running it, I wouldn't have them parked there. I would have it free for the people that are coming in, dropping off, or are in and out, going, visiting houses or other agencies, whatever they have to do, and leave that for the rotating traffic in pickup and drop-offs. You know, I'm sure your staff, if they're listening, isn't going to be happy to hear that, but, you know, there's really no alternative. If, you know, if it's only 3 spots that you need out front, I can't see how you can't free up 3 spots on the parking area to be able to have people use as a pickup and drop off out of 17. I understand some are back, you know, maybe you have the people that are coming in and going to be there all day. If they're going to draw straws and be lucky enough to get a spot, they park against a building with the understanding that someone may be behind
Well, that's what we were planning
them.
on doing. That's the plan, is to make the people that are there longer to stay, you know. But we were thinking about moving the van. So we have a van that parks there. We think about moving the van down the street so we have more space. But if everybody's parking in the parking lot, we have no place to put the van, so that when we drop the kids off, they can't, where are they gonna get off of? We have to pull in to drop them off. So the only place we could do is pull up next to the building and have them get out. That's really the only place to have them, to drop them off at this point. So we're going to have to use the front of the building just to drop the kids off, at the very least.
Diane, who would you prioritize?
Clients.
Your clients.
Always.
Well, then, some members of your staff must utilize the parking garage, and then you will be prioritizing your clients. That's what the picture that's in front of me. And if your clients are having a hard time finding a parking spot, dropping their children off and so forth, it's because of your staff that's there from 9 to 5 that's utilizing those parking spaces. And it's, you know, it's not rocket science. It's
Well,
just...
and they're not 9 to 5. Like, when I say 9 to 5, sometimes they go out, sometimes they have to go on home visits, so it's not a business where you just go in and you work at a desk for 9 to 5. Everybody's in and out, so. I mean, I understand the point that you're making, and I respect that you don't usually, that you don't usually make exceptions. I guess I'm just asking you on behalf of the most vulnerable kids in the city and the hard work that we do to help the families in the city, to allow us to have 3 drop-off parking spaces in front of our building. I mean, I don't think that's unreasonable. I mean, there's plenty of room on the street. It's not like, I mean, I already said that, you know, there's an extra 6 feet on the width of the street as compared to where the parking meters are. So I was told that it was because of the delivery trucks that this was an issue, and it doesn't sound like it's really because of the delivery trucks. So I just need to understand what this is about.
Well, even if we could go and put meters there, or some other, use it for parking, if we got rid of delivery trucks and said they can't go downtown, we still can't designate for private use public parking spots. Look through, I mean, you've been in the city for a number of years now. How many other agencies are there? It's CTI over here by the Club Diner, I'm sure would love to have some parking along Dutton Street. It's just not something we can't do it. By ordinance, we can't do it, and it would create havoc. It would have everybody in the city that owns a business calling down tomorrow, including Middlesex Community College. Why can't they get parking out in front of their building? Everyone, they have professors that have to use the parking garage as well, and they could just use the spaces in front of the buildings they own. It creates a huge problem logistically if we could do it. Even if we could do it, and that's my guess, one of the reasons why this has been on the books for so long and we can't do it, because it just, how would you manage? How could we manage it? There's so many good organizations like yours that do good work and help the citizens of the city. However, we have to follow our rules, which simply say we can't do it. This is an unfortunate situation, but I mean, none of us it would be much easier to say, let's give the 3 spots and, you know, we can take a break till 6:30. But I mean, the reality is, by ordinance, we're not allowed to do it. And for good reason, I think, because your organization does wonderful work. But drive down the street, you'll find another one, and another one, and another one. All these private organizations and businesses that would love to have parking on the street, designated. Not meters downtown, you know, the businesses downtown, they have meters. You know, they don't have designated spots. And you talk to some of those people to find out if they'd like to have parking right in front of their restaurant or their practice or whatever they have down there. And I think that you find that it's a problem for everybody that's in a city. And, you know, it's something that we all have to deal with. You fortunately have 17 spaces. I think that if you somehow get everyone together and focus on how to better manage them and provide the space for the people to come in and out, that you certainly would, you know, it may take some time. People are used to doing their routine, but I think in very little time you'll be able to organize this in a better fashion, as many schools do with pick-up and drop-offs. Regular schools, there's not enough spaces for people to park and walk their children in. So I understand what you're saying, but I just don't, you know, again, the other councils here, but I just don't see how we can do it by law. And then even if we could, I think we run into the problem of you do it once, do it always. We've always taken the position that we cannot do it, and we will not do it. For good organizations, housing authority, other that do very good work for the city and help the residents of the city, and it's just been one of the constants, you know, in the city as far as the parking goes. You know, I feel badly that something other than what you're looking for can't be worked out, but I think that your best bet is to get some parking spaces over in the garage at a monthly rate, and have your employees use the parking a little bit more efficiently for your clients. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor. Councilor James Milanazzo?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Through you to Ann Barton, if I could. Casey Family Services on Palmer Street. For some reason, I recall them coming before the council looking for a similar situation or request in order to do a drop-off. And I'm not sure how that was actually resolved, but if that's something that you could look into, I think it's actually, you know, relevant to this situation. And in thinking down those lines, could a reasonable accommodation be made for South Bay Intervention and give them actually a handicap drop-off? You know, one handicap drop-off in front of their building in order to provide a reasonable accommodation to the young disabled children that are getting dropped off there. Is that something that can be done?
I think all the councilors have made some very relative points about the agencies in the cities that operate. Right down the street, for example, is Lowell Community Health. They have no parking. They're in the area that's restricted there. I think what Councilor Milanazzo has suggested, what we can designate and are allowed to do by ordinance is what is termed a handicap drop-off. If you do indeed have handicap clients, they have plates or placards or a van that carries those individuals, that's something that can be designated. It's a drop-off. It's a time limit, and it is for handicap use. It isn't for a nurse that's dropping off bills or invoices, but it's for that specific purpose. And if I could just suggest otherwise, I was asked to come tonight just because I have some of the history on this location. The park, I think you have been fortunate for 10 years. I recall when a facility like this first located in the building, I was concerned about traffic, drop-offs, parents, that sort of activity. But the restrictions have been in place for a very long time, researched back to at least the 50s, that these parking restrictions have been in place, and for some good reason. I think the idea to clear your lot and maybe start with a clean slate there would be good, and we would be glad, Jeff and myself, to help you lay out some reasonable means where you might be able to, if you stack 17 in there, that's a lot. If you realistically have 7 to 8 spaces, you could potentially reserve a space for the van and drop off. If we take a look at where the kids enter and exit, maybe reserve 3 spaces for the clinicians that do the quick run into the building and out, and potentially have a visitor space or 2 or something like that. I think it is imperative that anybody in the building for any term of time is parked in the garage, like most of the others in the area have to do. But we'd be glad to look at whether or not we can physically lay out a handicap drop-off space that doesn't interfere with traffic, and then help you with some layout in the lot. And maybe do you lease the space or own?
No, we own it
You
now.
own it,
Yeah, we just recently.
You may want to
purchased the
look at
building.
having the snow removed in the winter. It'll open up the spaces for you. I know it's additional expense, but
No,
it's
they
a
do, but
possibility.
it's still very, I mean, people have gotten stuck down in the driveway. They can't get out, so it's just not a good situation in the driveway.
But we'd be glad to look at it. I would be almost sure tonight to be able to say wherever the drop-off is located, it's going to need to be away from Church Street as far as we can from that intersection, because that's a very congested area. Traffic gets pretty tied up there, and that's where we get to the point on the truck routes that have existed for many years for deliveries and such, so.
This is a picture of the front of the building, and this is what we're talking about.
Where do the children enter, the side or the front of the building?
Right now, because see where the space is here, the van pulls in and they enter through here.
This door?
But trying to get, what we were thinking about doing is moving this van out so that we could fit more people in. It's also not as safe for the kids to go like walking through the parking lot than it is for them to just get dropped off and walk in the front door this way. So it's actually much safer for them to be dropped off in front.
So that front door really is further away from Church Street.
Correct.
So we could look at that,
There.
whether a handicap drop-off could be designated for the van. And as Councilor Broderick recommended, speak with our garage administrators, because I believe there are group rates. They may even have the ability to provide a place for the van if
Okay.
it's parked long-term. So I think it's really maximizing the use of what you do have available.
I've been trying.
Yeah, well, we're happy to give you a hand with that. But I know it's a struggle in an urban area to try and address all these things, but we'd be glad to give you a hand with that.
Okay.
Get the most out of it.
Thank you. Councilor Eileen Donohue?
Thank you. You know, I think, as we discussed when this came before the council a couple of weeks ago, I mean, this poses a very serious problem for the council to do what the petitioner's asking us to do. We simply can't. And more importantly, you know, what I'm hearing, I mean, this is a business, you know, and we keep hearing nonprofit, but I mean, that doesn't mean there isn't profit involved. But beside that, they actually have parking, which is a luxury in the city. And so I fail to see, you know, the extreme hardship that the petitioner's pushing forward, as though the city is somehow complicit in the situation they find themselves in. Because we have many, many good businesses, as has been pointed out here. And many, many people have to go in and out of their offices on a regular basis. And able-bodied people who are working may have to park in a garage and walk, or take a meter and feed the meter. That happens all across the city. So, you know, I certainly think if there's a legitimate, you know, handicap, and that's highly regulated as far as using a handicap space, and if that can be accommodated, but it certainly won't go to what I hear the petitioner saying. Well, they want something where parents can drop kids off, where they can be in and out, where people, and so that's not going to solve that problem. I think, as the council and councilors have pointed out, it really does require the business to utilize the space they have. You know, the fact that, you know, and I mean, maybe it's unfortunate. Maybe when they bought the building, they had a different understanding, but that's not the city's fault. The city has not made any deal that it's going back on. And I take issue with the suggestion that somehow the city has been at fault here. The city has not been at fault here. And so I think cooperation is what should be happening. And to me, the most logical thing is to utilize the space adjacent to the building. I've looked at the space as well, and and make the most of that space. And I think if the planning department's willing to help in that, I think the city's trying to do the best it can. But, you know, at the same time, we have to be mindful of the hundreds of businesses in the downtown. And if every single one came before us with their, you know, cause or asking, you know, us to make exceptions for them, you know, the city just can't do that.
Thank you, Counselor. I just want to briefly make a statement here. If you go to any of the large malls, supermarkets, or any large business with a large parking lot, the employees have to park in the back. And the prime parking spaces are there for the customer. And this is what I recommend to you, Diane. The prime parking spaces should be for your clients. And if you have employees there 9 to 5, they're only probably there 4 hours, 5 hours, 6 hours, but draw straws. It's your week in the parking garage. It has to happen. And your clients should be prioritized.
They
And
are.
I know, but when they have to look for a place to park,
Everyone looks for a place to park. It's
well,
just not the
that's why we
clients.
built 4 state-of-the-art parking garages downtown. And can you imagine if we didn't have those parking garages?
No, I can't.
Be bedlam.
Yeah.
So,
And I just want to say I never said or I never implied that this was the city's fault. I'm not blaming the city for this happening. I'm just presenting
right.
the reality of
And-
what
and-
we deal with and to see if, you know, I'm not sure. I just didn't understand why it was okay for 10 years and now it's not, so.
And none of us can fault you for coming here, trying to come up with a solution. But I think the solution is DPD is going to work very close with you, try to help you, but your employees who are there on a long-term basis throughout the day are going to have to realize they have to move to make room for your number one priority, and that's your client. So if you want to bring a motion forward.
I'll put that in the form of a motion, that DPD work with you to try and maximize the parking space that you have available, and also that we offer the services of Mr. Carney over at the parking garage to find out what kind of parking arrangements can be made. And certainly, you know, you can talk to the Butler Bank people, see if there's something you can do with them on a private basis. And I'll put that in the form of a motion.
Roll call, please, on the motion.
Councilor Caulfield?
Yes.
Councilor Broderick?
Yes.
Councilor Rita Mercier, 2 yeas, 1 absent.
Diane, we try to reach out and service everyone who comes before us, every subcommittee. Sometimes people leave with a smile, and I hope you understand our situation. And we wanted to try to help you, but the only solution is for your long-term employees, get the car out of the weather into a parking garage and leave that space for your clients, okay? Motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Thank you. I want to thank everyone who was in attendance this evening as well.